Actually, this isn't really a question for the council. The mayor told me not to get out of hand tonight, so I'm not going to. I just wanted to say, and I'm passionate about this, if you want to have a bird in your community, you need to attend the city council meetings. I've been here 4.5 years, and I go all the time, except for when I was ill. And they have an open forum. Anytime you want to make a suggestion, you're allowed to do so. And I've talked a lot at city council meetings, and I found that these gentlemen and the lady are very knowledgeable in their respective fields, and they take a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to address everybody's needs and wants in this community. So come out to the council, and you'll get your wants and desires understood.
Let me respond to that, if I may. And I wish to just take a second and salute the present city council members, Jared Bollinger, Darcy Holt, C. Ronald Lehm, and of course Ron and Shalyn. They're devoted, they're dedicated, they're unselfish. I've never worked with a finer group of people, and I think that goes to say with our planning commission. If you're not aware of who's on the planning commission besides Ben Cope, Jared Moody, Jen Dawson, Brett Bowler, Hammond Carter, some of the finest people you'd ever work, and I think you know and understand and respect them. And lastly, my hat's off to Carol Nan, because I've been your mayor for 8 years, and no one, other than the other council members and the city recorder and administrator, no one has ever attended more meetings dutifully. She comes with a walker when it's not convenient, at weather that's not pleasant, and she shows up at every meeting, has comments for us, and I tell you, I salute people like you, and I appreciate your willingness to try and help make Enterprise better.
We have public hearings where a lot of these major problems are discussed. There are notices all over town that we are going to have a public hearing, and each public hearing that we've been to, there's been 3 people, this one, and this one. Where are the people who are interested in changing things? Why don't they come to the public meeting and put their input in? Just a question.
Can I just respond to that for just a minute? It is a concern I have. It's one of those things that I passionately believe that what liberty requires some effort. Our system is not a passive one. If we want changes made, if we want action, we don't get it by griping to somebody at the post office. We get it by coming to those meetings. And sometimes it's a little disheartening as a council when there's an issue there that we're hearing feedback, just kind of random stuff from the community, and nobody shows up to say anything about it. But after the decision is made, then there's some griping and complaining. And so I encourage people to come. I require my kids in my American government class to go to a public meeting so they can see how open they are, that they can participate. I think it's very important. So I encourage the citizens, if you have complaints, issues, things you want to bring up, please come see us. That's what we're there for.
I'd like to respond to that also. Most important that, going back to what Lee said about, we'll hear the comments, well, the city should do this or the city should do that when we're making decisions. And coming back around to it, we are representatives of you, and we need you at those city council meetings to be able to hear firsthand the things that are taking place, not secondhand like was stated at the supermarket, at the Carter's, or at the post office, but to be able to come and participate and to give us the support that we need to make the decisions that affect you directly, because the city council is not the city. You, the residents, are the city.
I love this question. I was over at Smead's packing plant with the 8th graders yesterday, and as they took us through the plant, they had several stations where the employees can make suggestions on how to run the plant better. This CEO was going, who better to know how to run the plant than the employees? And so they actually give their employees raises based upon their suggestions. I would think if you're not getting anybody to the city council, maybe we need to do a different approach. We need to maybe have boards around something, internet. CR is amazing with getting advice. We need to look outside the box. I think the reason I don't go is when I voted for these guys, I trust them. Now, if there's something on my mind right now, that's why I'm running. I've got, issues that I want changed. I see a need. Now, the mayor's endorsing these other guys. He didn't say anything about me, but I promise that I will do my best and I will think outside the box on a very issue like that. If you got a concern, we'll find ways of getting that in. And there's got to be better ways because people are busy today. They don't have time to go sit at city council. They got families to raise, jobs, and everything else. So there's easier ways to get suggestions besides going over there and sit for a couple hours.
It's working? Okay, I haven't heard too much about the swimming pool. So first I'd like to know about the swimming pool. Is it still up or down or what?
We've looked at a swimming pool extensively. I've personally visited a number of swimming pools. I think I started down at Kanab and worked up through Orderville, through to Pearland, over to Minersville, up to Milford. We looked at every swimming pool complex. We've met with city government. We've acquired their budgets. The swimming pool is a recreational facility that meets a narrow need of people that could be construed as a want versus a need by many. In every single case, and I state in every single case, swimming pools have to be severely subsidized. And I could tell you that, as I was talking to Shalyn about his visit over to Caliente, they budget a $60,000 annual cost and an expected $9,000 annual revenue. That's not quite as distorted as Minersville or Milford's, but they have to be subsidized heavily, and I struggle with that personally. I'm not sure. And if you put user fees to the point where users are paying for its use, I don't think it'll get used. So there's an awkward dilemma there with a swimming pool. I frankly think a splash pad is a superior option, and we're really looking hard at that.
I just know, come from northern Utah, there was a partnership between the schools and the city, and they had some amazing things. Now, definitely there's a cost, but when you split the cost on the same tax base, there's some creative ways. But at the same time, I've heard the school district will not even consider it. Well, hey, the school people are, employed by us too, it's the same thing. So there's ways of working. Now, definitely if you're willing to put the money out, I know in my community, Washington Terrace, they got together and put a pool up when I was like 8 or 9. It was the best thing for us, but it's definitely a cost associated with it. Now, he says it's a narrow base of people, and it's, I'm not so sure. I don't know, as I get older, wouldn't you like to go swimming once in a while, Mary? He don't swim, but I'm just thinking that might be a good thing when I get older, you never know.
It's interesting, this swimming pool issue has been kicked around the last 4 years that I've been involved with city council. We've heard the pros and we've heard the cons, and it seems interesting here in the last, I'd say the last year or so, because we have addressed it again. That a lot of these cities that have swimming pools have come right out and made the comment that, boy, they wish they would have done something different. And that's why we have taken a very cautious approach that there was a survey that went out to the public that came back, listing the priorities of the things they'd like to see in the park, and that's what helped us make the general plan for the park. And out of those surveys that came back, the swimming pool, out of 1 to 10, the swimming pool was number 10 on the list. So that kind of tells us where the interest is there. But people that we have talked to, and other cities that we have talked to, splash pads are the thing that they really wish that they would have gone with. And then with our visit to Caliente and hearing how much they have to subsidize their pool every year, that just reinforces So just being very, very cautious.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what the mayor had to say on that, and the fact that it's a cost that I'm reluctant to jump into. It's a very, very heavy cost to a city the size of Enterprise. Those are some things that really require a little bigger tax base, unless we want to put a pretty severe burden on the individual homeowners to pay for that. Because one of the things that we have that's a challenge is that we have a very limited business base, limited tax base. And so when we get compared to places like Panguitch or Kanab or something, those are apples to oranges. They have a much higher revenue stream in taxes from their recreation and from the tourists that come through. And so it makes it a little difficult. Those costs would fall really directly right on our shoulders. And if the residents overwhelmingly, the majority of the residents would wish to push for something like that, the council will respond to those needs, but I'm pretty reluctant to jump there.
Okay, I have one more. Mr. Jones, okay, you mentioned that Kanab and Beaver have found ways to deal with their youth. You didn't tell any specifics. Do you know anything that they've done that's
Well,
helped?
the big thing is what Logan, when I talk to Logan, change comes very slow. The big thing is to recognize the need, and when definitely is a need, then come together. But there's definitely getting youth involved. Now, the same thing, it doesn't take money to do this. It takes creative ways to get kids, I don't know, you can ask the youth, I'm around them, what there is to do. If you're not on a sports team, what are you doing in this community? What is the options? So those are the things that we need to address. How do we get kids involved, get them away doing positive things? Because I don't know what the percentage would be that kids that play sports, but there's surely a lot more that don't. And we need to reach those kids in some way and find positive ways to keep them doing the right things. We can do it. I know we can.
I wanted to ask actually about the kids, so I'm glad we're on that subject. I want to first say that I don't attend meetings because I have kids. It's hard for me to get there. If you want to provide a babysitting service, I'm there. Anyway, I know that's hard. But, listening to what you guys have been saying about the youth, you talked about the Little League fields and these programs, and I think those are great. However, I want to step back and say, I know you guys can't please everybody, and I know you are not up here to offend people, but I was slightly offended tonight, just to verbalize it, that I am a good mom, and so's my husband, and we're in the church, not that that matters, but I'm doing what's right, and I feel like I'm a good mom. My kids don't play Little League. My kids don't want to do soccer. I feel like, and I have little kids, I feel like if you guys can come up with something, and as a group, I agree with Barry, all of us need help, but there's got to be something that can be done, because what is there to do? If you can start with the kids that are young and get them going in a good program, we're not going to get them out there at the pond smoking and drinking if they start young. And I know it is the value of the home, and I appreciate that because I feel like I do that, but I still worry about what is there for my kids to do in this town. And I'm glad you're doing a park. As far as the pool, I'm one of those moms that I think it'd be awesome, but I don't really think we need it. I like the splash pad idea, but I guess I don't know if I think that there needs to be something more addressed with the kids. There's some of us that aren't athletic. So, I guess I don't have a question. I just wanted to, I don't know. That's just what I mean. So, what do you guys think? Can we come up with something maybe, or someone address it?
To go back on that, I'm the one that made the comment that it starts with the parents. But I would say the parents that we have sitting here do not have problems with their kids, typically. Most of the parents are very attentive to their kids and their needs and taking care of their kids. The thing that I'm referring to is a lot of the kids that are having problems, the problems are starting in the home. They're not starting basically not being taken care of, not loved at home. That's not what I was referring to. The kids that are having problems are not getting the support that they need at home to help them achieve. you bring up a good point as to your kids aren't involved in school. You know, we know Tess, she was our little sweetheart when you guys are neighbors to us. And it is a challenge to come up with different programs. We do not have a recreation department in the city where we have a full-time person that's hired to be the recreation and come up with activities for the kids. It's all that we can do to take care of the Little League, take care of the soccer, take care, we hear again the Easter egg hunt is a volunteer thing that's been started by residents, it's taken care of. There are things that can be done. There's a reading program at the library every summer that the city helps sponsor. There are things the city is doing, but here again, we need input. And that's why I get the red flag waved at me. Come to city council meeting and take your 3 minutes of the public forum and give us ideas. There's only 5 of us there. Give us ideas.
I like that idea of having a recreation person. I know that that's one more person on there, but I mean, and I'm not accusing you guys of saying that, but those kids that don't have necessarily good family households, if they knew that there was something to go do and their friends are going, we all know, as at least some of us that are in the church, that you can get people to go to activities. It's not as easy to get them to go to church maybe, but activities, and I mean, look at the good that that's done here, you know, locally. But why not have activities for these kids so they can say, hey, what are you doing? Guess what the city's doing? We're going to go. You know, those kids are going to be excited to do that stuff. I mean, why not put a recreation person in?
Can I tell a personal story real quick? I know you guys are ready to go home, but I'm looking at Bob Holt back here, and I'll tell you what happened to me. These guys over here know this story. When I came down and then we moved into a particular ward, I won't tell you which one, I didn't feel welcomed. In fact, I went to a Christmas program with my wife and Ryan, and we went in the gym, and not one person came up to say hello, and I was just blowing out of my mind. I was just going, is it my breath? Is it my, you know, what is it going on? And so I couldn't take anymore, so I walked out the gym door over at the stake center, and I happened to walk out into a blizzard, and I actually had to walk home. I said, I'm not going back. I am not going back. The people are just really now reaching out. And then some guy, this guy right back here, I kind of give my kudos to him, because when I first came down, I was looking for property, and they said, Bob Holt has property. I didn't know who Bob Holt was. I called him on a tractor. He was driving a tractor. He says, you gotta be careful, this guy's kind of a little bit ornery. Bob, you ornery? I didn't find him to be ornery, but he reached out to me. He made me his friend. It was an amazing difference. But if it happened to me, what are some of these kids feeling? I know what my son went through, and his grandson, Kevin Holt, and Kyle West reached out to Ryan and really saved the day for him. It made a huge difference. These things that we're talking about, kids need to be loved. They need to have things to be done, you know, do things. They need act, and to me, that's a need, not a want. It needs to be addressed.
One of the things that I hope by expressing my idea on that was not to insinuate that in any way, if there's a kid that's a troubled kid, that's entirely the parent's fault. I mean, heavens, kids have minds of their own. You can raise them, teach them what you want to do, and they'll still sometimes, despite that, do what they want. But in the city, it really, we're kind of poor parents ourselves if we're trying to parent somebody else's kids as a council. We can help provide a few activities, but again, as Ron mentioned, one of the best things you can do is provide ideas for us there. We don't go to city council and the first thing on our minds is what activities can we do? We get hit with budgetary problems, we get hit with, you know, we've got to rebuild a transmission line or something like that. That's where citizen input can really help us, and the city council would be very supportive of that. These are good people that want to help, but keep in mind that we're not going to be really good babysitters, and so your input on that would be really good.
Can I say one quick thing? You know, I love what Shalyn's saying, don't get me wrong, but you know, I take offense because I had a couple struggling kids myself, you know, so I have, without a doubt, the best loving, caring wife in the world. I'll stack them up against any of you guys, okay? And I know you love your parents, your wives, but I'm telling you, my wife did a phenomenal job raising her kids and still struggling. But I swear, if there's someone out there to reach out to them, maybe they wouldn't have struggled so hard. Maybe there's something out there. Everybody's got to do their part. And I know there's some tremendous people out here, amazing people in the enterprise, what I've come to find out. Tremendous people that's got amazing talents and everything. And really, they can make magic appear with some of these kids.
Just a quick follow-up to that. Emily did mention about a recreation director for the city. Just 30 seconds. I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you think our city could benefit from a recreation director, and would that be something that you feel would be a possibility?
I think that would be something the city could benefit from, but I don't think it would be something that we would look at as a full-time position at this point, where we don't have our park finished with the softball diamonds and different things there. The community recreation center would be a help to us to develop different activities there. It would be something that I think we definitely look at once we have infrastructure in place to be able to then promote activities, but I don't think it would be on a full-time basis at this point.
Right now, again, talking wants versus needs, and this is a need that we could, I guess, get into a bit of an argument for. I'd be reluctant at this point to hire somebody, especially full-time. Now, if there was somebody who could pick up part-time and could do some things for us, that would be something perhaps to consider. But our greatest need right now is we are, with our electrical system, in need of someone to back up our current electrician. We don't have a second one on hand. If there's a problem, we could be in some dire straits with the city. And so that's something we actually need to probably look at, probably as a priority there.
I am 150, 2,000, whatever you want to go percent of getting somebody in there to run the recreational program. Don't have to be full-time, be part-time, but I can still remember growing up in my city, Washington Terrace. It had one store, 2 gas stations. We had more than the city, and they had a recreation director. I still remember him. Part-time guy, had things going on the ball, youth football, it was amazing. We need to have somebody in this city in charge of that.
You know, I look at the amount of work and effort that's put into the Little League program, and I don't think any of us, except maybe Sean, would understand how much Charlotte has devoted to the Little League program with some 40-plus teams and coaches and umpires. And we've talked about the burden that puts on those who are involved as concerned parents and interested people, and whether or not the city could justify investment in that. And I'm not sure that there's an answer for that, but I think that goes along with some of the out-of-box thinking that Barry's been talking about, is that if their residents want that, if they value that, if they feel like that's an investment, we'd look at that. We'd have to do some re-examining within budget, but I don't think it's fair to say that anything like that's out of reach or unreasonable if that's what the residents want.
Just from a personal side, when I was a football coach here for 5 years, I had to run the 7th and 8th grade program on top of the high school program, and I'm telling you what, I was burnt out big time. Yeah, Brian Phelps back here that does a tremendous job at the high school. He's running the Little League programs. I just think it just puts too much on those coaches. It did on me, I know that. And if we had someone down there that focused on that, I mean, I was focused on high school football. It's hard to focus down there. It's hard to get all my, energy out to everything. So we need someone down there to focus on it.
I guess I have a question. I've heard a lot mentioned about grants and getting grants to do the firehouse, getting grants for recreation, getting grants for different things. And where does the grant money come from? Is it from volunteers? I mean, is it people that voluntarily give that money for grants?
That's a good question, Yvonne, and I think we all know and understand that if we're looking at federal grants, that it's either got to come out of the debt or out of our own pocket. We've not had much success with grants and have certainly not been dependent on grants. The biggest source of grants in the state is the Community Impact Board. The Community Impact Board is funded with revenues from mineral extraction in the counties in which there is energy development. We used to get a lot of Community Impact Board money from, as a result of the silver mine being here, but they're not here anymore. So there's revenues generated there, and those grants are generated from mineral extraction leases and revenues that are paid by those who are using those resources into a fund to be distributed back out to the communities. And so those are legitimate grants that are not coming from any kind of federal dole or expectation. And that's the kind that we've had most interest in.
Okay, because I was thinking that, to me, it's no more morally right for Enterprise City to have that much money in a rainy day fund and go to the state or go to the federal government and ask other people that don't live here to pay for our fire station than it is for me as an individual to go and ask. And I've always lived my life this way, and I think out of the audience, I've probably got as low income as anybody that's here. And I've lived my whole life, supported 7 kids, put 2 through college at the same time. And I've always lived my life by the fact that if I can go morally and knock on my neighbor's door and demand that they hand me money, then, you know, at student loans, whatever. If I can't go and knock on my door and say, I need to send my kids to school, I want each one of you in this community to fork out some money. You need to do that. If I can't morally as an individual and force them to do that, then it's not right for me to ask the government to do the same in my behalf. And I think it's no more right for the city to go to the federal or state level and ask other people to fund our fire station.
Just to address just briefly that, I don't like the idea of going handout either. There may be some emergency situations where maybe something like that would be available, but as the mayor mentioned, some of the grants we've hoped to get a hold of are not tax dollar grants that come from other sources. And I generally am very much opposed to the use of those grants that would come from taxpayers, unless, if there was a disastrous situation we had no choice, I would consider it otherwise.
Maybe just let me make an observation. For those of you who are not aware of the initial funding for the Enterprise Valley Medical Clinic was in part a grant from the Community Impact Board as a result of the mineral extraction tax that was being collected out of the Escalante Silver Mine. That's a little bit different. That money was imposed on them as an opportunity to extract that public resource, and they're required to provide that back. So just as a matter of information, that's that and a donation from Dixie Medical Center is how the clinic got started, if you ever happen to use that facility.
I just love your comment. That was amazing. You know, I know having helped work on a grant with Gail Brody, is that her last name? You know, there's monies out there that they specifically target. If you can write the grants, you got to be a pretty good grant writer, you know. And so, in fact, I talked to Cameron, the fire chief. There's some cities that hire a grant writer, so they go after the grants that are out there to help their cities. Now, I agree. If we got the money to, you know, take care of our own, let's take care of it. You know, I was unaware of $3.5 million in rainy day fund, but I know we need to have some money there for sure, but man, that's enough to start the fire station, isn't it, Mayor?